What's up, everybody? This is Big Swiss. I am back with another episode of The Process, and I am excited to have JusRzd on the channel today. We are here to talk about his new album, The Hustle and Soul. Is it Hustle and Soul tape? Am I saying, is it the tape or is it the what? You tell me, JusRzd. Welcome. How you doing? It's Hustle and Soul tape, right?
Yeah, it's the Hustle and Soul tape. The reason why is because I look at I look at the project as more like a mixtape, even though it's like I'm not rapping over like industry beats or nothing like that. I just look at it as more of a mixtape than an actual album because I feel like with the actual album, even though this particular tape has a theme throughout, it's just like with the actual album, I just feel like it should be a little more cohesive. Not that this isn't cohesive, but I know when it came to like the mixing and stuff like that, we weren't too worried about it. I was just like, let's just kind of approach it from like a mixtape standpoint because it is going to be like a soundtrack, but it's also going to be like just an amalgamation of just a lot of hard work and time and effort put into this particular project. So I kind of went into it with that mindset. So that's why it's more so I look at it as a tape than the actual album.
Yeah. So, I mean, one thing I've noticed since interviewing guys like you and whatnot is everyone has a different definition of what an EP, an album, a mixtape, and a freestyle is. And so I'm always like, what is it? Like sometimes I'll classify a top list and I'll put an EP and someone like, that's an album. I'm like, man, it's 25 minutes. Like it's an EP, like, you know?
So wait, is it EP based on the amount of songs or the time?
That's, I don't
frame?
know. Everyone has a different like definition to it. Like there's some people that are like, well, it's 10 tracks is an album, 30 minutes is an album. But some people will be like, no, 30 minutes is an EP. Anything over 30 minutes is I don't know. I don't know nowadays. But and then
Gotcha. Yeah, I always got confused when it came to EPs because I've seen people be like, oh, this 4 songs, it's an EP.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. But then I've also seen like 8 to 9 songs be considered a EP. So I'm like, wait, is it the entirety of the project length or is it just the number of songs? Yeah. So that's why I was just like, yeah, this is gonna be a tape.
Yeah, and then me growing up, freestyling was true freestyling, and mixtapes were, let me take Lil Wayne's beat and rap on it, or something like that. And now it's like, you know, maybe an industry sounding beat, but not necessarily someone else's beat. And freestyles aren't necessarily off the dome. Maybe they were at one point, but like perfected. So the definitions are changing through time. But anyways, man, I loved the album. I thought that's why I was confused on calling it a tape because it was so cohesive and like from the get-go, you know, there is a theme of this daydream and like going to like kind of into the for lack of a better word, like into the battle of like the day and like how to go on. Where did that come from? Like what made you want to like pick that theme and run with it the way you did?
So the overall theme of the actual tape is just like hustle culture and just like the battle for finding balance within hustle culture and like your soul. Because sometimes we can get caught up in the hustle, trying to be an entrepreneur or trying to make 6 figures or trying to, whatever your dream or aspiration is for your life or what you deem as success. We try to chase that so much that we end up losing ourselves and sometimes losing our families and sometimes just losing out on God and just losing out on life and time in general. Just trying to chase something that we probably would have achieved if we would have just tweaked our perspective a little bit and put time in where it needed to be more important. So when it came to just kind of, I wanted to start from the aspect of like, I wanted it to almost feel like you're going through a journey. And when you're going through a journey, you can start at any point, but I figured like, why not start with the morning? Like, why not start with waking up? Why not start with, all right, I need to start my day.
The alarm going off at the end
so
of
let me
the
get
intro.
Up.
Yeah. I love that. And then you go into morning mantra, which is such like a kind of ethereal feel to it. To me, at least, it kind of still felt like um almost like you're wiping the sleep out of your eyes kind of feel, but like you're ready for the
Mm-hmm.
day, like, and then you go into the still daydream. There's just so many like layers of like, oh, okay, we're on a journey, which is not typical for a mixtape. um and so it
Yeah.
threw me off, but I loved it. And so, man, when I'm looking at the album, first of all, there's just banger after banger, and then you have chill songs, then you have so much variety. What made you want to like place songs in certain areas, because it feels like there's peaks and valleys? How intentional were you in that like song placement?
For me, I'm very particular when it comes to artistic styling and choicing. Um, I don't know why. I just always have been like that since a child. So it's just like when it comes to observing art, when it comes to working on art, it's just like to me, it always has to be a flow. It always has to be a message. There always has to be something deeper.
Mm,
Like, so like a little background on me. I've been writing poetry since I was
okay.
8, and I've always used it as a metric or a way to express an emotional high or an emotional low. So it's just like nothing is ever just. It's rare for me where something, even if I didn't intend it to be deep, it's always a deeper meaning to something that I do. Even if I'm not intending it to be deep, I'm just trying to get out of frustration or something like that. I'll go back and be like, dang, God was speaking through me on this because I didn't even think about this like that. But so when it came to just the process of just creating everything, I wanted to make sure I had a flow. Like I said, I wanted you to feel like you were on a journey. I wanted you to feel like, all right, we starting our day. We were asleep. We woke up. Now we're trying to start our day. That's why the tone on morning mantra was like so like I just woke up, so my voice still ain't made it back to its regular tone. And then we're still daydreaming. I'm not a morning person, so like when I used to work the morning shift, so I had to be at work at like 6 o'clock. I want to say between like 6 and 9 o'clock, I still wasn't fully awake. Like I was at work doing my job, but I wasn't fully coherent just yet. By 9 o'clock, I'd be like, all right, I'm here. So it's just like with morning mantra and the still daydreaming, I felt like they flowed in together, but then also it just was a testament to who I am as a person because it's just like I can be awake and physically functioning, but not like mentally there.
Yeah.
So it's like let me just kind of let me just kind of paint that picture, and then just kind of I just kind of went with the different feels of the different records that we've recorded, and just which ones lined up with the message. Because the background on the project, I kind of accidentally stumbled
Okay.
into it. Like I wasn't even trying to do this project. It just kind of came about in a way like these songs kind of fit together and they're kind of all speaking on the same type of message. So it's just like I guess I could kind of put a tape together. And so I kind of shaped and molded it together, and just kind of put everything together and it flowed and just trying to make sure each single flowed into the next and told a proper story, and it just came together that
So
way.
you had mentioned it takes a while for your voice to get going, and one of the things that I really appreciated about how you mixed this and how you layered in your vocals was the range in which you do your vocals. Are you like a classic like opera singer or something? Like I like I need to know like how you train your voice to do so many inflections. I don't know if you're familiar with Jacob Collier. He's like,
I've
yeah,
heard of them, but I'm never like tapped in
man, one of my
fully.
coworkers is obsessed with him. I'm not really a fan. It's not really my sound, but I respect his like musical knowledge, and he's a very like smart vocalist, and like he'll get like
Mm-hmm.
crowds to be part of the vocal thing. And that's what I was thinking of when I was listening to this album, because you have so many like background vocals, and it's all, at least it sounds like it's all you. Not only that, just the different deliveries that you do, the way you'll come in and kind of hit like a higher tone and a lower tone and then mix it together, and then a mid tone
Mm-hmm.
in the background. How long does that process take? How do you do that?
So for me, it's been a process. So it's definitely different now than when I started to try to do it. Um, so shout out to 48 because that's my
Okay.
engineer. He's out in Arizona. he's been engineering my stuff since I want to say 2020. So anything because I don't mix. I don't technically I don't feel like I have the ear for it, like the technical ear, the frequencies and all that stuff. Like me and him joke about it all the time. He be knowing the technical terms. I just know the feel. Like I just know this is how it should feel. This is how I would like it. So we always go back and forth when it comes to that. But yeah, he mixed the whole project. He pretty much mixes you 90. I want to say 8% of the stuff I drop, he mixed it. And so when it comes to like the feel and the vocal tone and stuff like that, it's definitely something I worked on. As far as just like trying to when it came to like finding my own sound and trying to find ways that I enjoy making music, because when I first started rapping, I started rapping on like trap beats. So and I was trying to be like super lyrical miracle. Like my favorite rapper at that time when I first started rapping was like KB.
Okay.
So it was just like I was trying to do all the cadences and yeah. And so it's just like I can still do it, don't get me wrong, but it's just like as I matured and just experienced more life and stuff like that, it was just like this is cool, but I'm not really here to just make youth groupie records. Like I'm not here to just jam out for Winter Jam and then that's my whole collection of music. It's just like I want to make music you could live life to. Like you could do life to. When you wake up in the morning, you could turn it on and you have a record for your morning. When you going through a tough time, you could turn it on and actually like vibe out during a tough time and like really have something speak to your soul. So it's just like I grew up on like Outkast is probably one of my biggest musical influences. I can hear that. Like Outkast, Busta Rhymes, Kurt Franklin, like just it's a
what
lot
era
of
Busta Rhymes,
a lot of old school gospel.
Like what era are we talking? We're talking
early Busta Rhymes, right. Early Bust.
Pre-Genesis.
So like yeah, before he cut the dreads.
Okay.
Before he cut the dreads.
Right. Yeah.
So like yeah, when he first popped on the scene with Tribe and all that, so like that era Busta Rhymes.
Leaders of the New School, that stuff was wild.
Yeah. So it was like just seeing how they like attacked records and how like with Outkast they dropped super dope records that were dope musically, dope lyrically, but they always had like a deeper message and a deeper meaning behind what they like. They made dope subject matter hits, and it was just like, why is this hit so hard? And y'all talking about this particular subject, or y'all talking about this particular subject, but y'all making it like a mainstream bop. And so it's just like being influenced by them and just enjoying their music and knowing that they sounded like nobody at the time. Like they literally had their own cultivated sound, and it was just like shout out to Organized Noise. And it was just like just seeing all that when I started kind of diving deep into like finding my own sound. It was just like trying to figure out what I loved about music in the first place, how I was introduced to music. Like I grew up on like old school R&B, like the Ozzy Brothers, Earth, Wind and Fire, and like gospel music. So it's like a lot of soulful harmonies, a lot of soulful instrumentation, a lot of just a lot of dope singers. And I'm not the best singer, but I know how to use my voice to do what it needs to do. And I've developed over time. I've gotten way better compared to when I first started and started trying to sing and different things like that. So with me, I know it's a lot of stacking. It's a lot of panning when it comes to different vocals. So like I'll usually go in, I'll lay, depending on what I'm doing, I'll lay down a verse or I'll lay down a hook. You have like the main lead. And then if I want to do harmonies for it, I'll do it. I usually start with the high. Because my voice is already super deep, so it's just like, let me see how high I can go with it that'll make sense sonically, and do a high, then I do a tenor note, then I do a mid note, then I do like a little melodic lead behind everything, and just kind of let 48 have fun when he's mixing it.
Is there a lot of back and forth with him? Like, does he do a master and then he goes back
not at this point. Not at this point. Just because we've been working on it for like 4 years at this point. So it's just like we do go back and forth when it comes to certain records, because like he learns new stuff as he grows in his engineering, and just like I learn new stuff vocally as I grow in my artistry. So it's just like we both are kind of like perfectionists. So if we do go back and forth, it's usually over like very minute details, but it's because it's us, it's like we trust each other and we know like we're only tweaking this for the betterment of the record. And if we do something different or we try something different, we like, if we like it the other way, we'll just go the other way with it. But I just wanted to try this to see if you was rocking with it, or I just wanted to try this here. So now it's just more like we might bounce a record between each other, like maybe 4 or 5 times before it's like actually finished. But it's usually like minor tweaks. It's usually never like something like, oh, this mix is horrible type situation. It's usually like, all right, well, can you make the pan go this way? Can you make the vocal shift a little bit in the background? Like, so it's usually dumb stuff that most people would be like, but it sounds good already. It's like, but nah, we could do it a little better.
Yeah, it's almost like getting an ice cream sundae and they like not getting whipped cream on top. You know what I mean? Like the vocal element is the whipped cream on top. That's that next like next bit. Because I mean, I'm sure you saw my reaction when I did it. I was just like, I kept picking. I'm like, man, these background vocals are nuts. Like they're just adding an element. Like it's almost like an extra instrument to me. And I think that's a unique way to use a talent, especially in hip hop, because I don't hear a lot of people doing that. And so I think that's what sets you apart.
Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not too many people that I've noticed that do it. I know. It's probably specific people that do it. I know Weez does it sometimes. Shout out to Weez, that's the homie. And I know like 2 secular artists that I don't necessarily like their music that much. I like one person's music more than I like the other person's music, but I appreciate what they do artistically that makes their music pop a little bit more. But Young Thug and Baby King, they're great with like using their vocals as like extra instruments in the different layers in their music. Not really a Young Thug fan when it comes to like music and stuff like that, but the way they manipulate their vocals and they use their vocals and the highs and the sound effects and the different things like that, it's interesting. Like it keeps you engaged and you don't even realize that that's what's keeping you engaged. So it's just like you said, it's like the whipped cream on top, or like I think Bruce put it one way. He was just like, it's like ear candy.
Yeah.
Like it's like you like it, but you don't know why you like it, and you can't even, unless you're like really into it, you don't even understand the work that goes behind all that.
Yeah. Speaking of candy, you have a line in Still Daydreaming about candy rain, let it pour to the oceans fill with all my blessings. Along life's journey I've done learned many lessons. Jesus in therapy, I've confirmed many sessions. Gratefully spared G, I usher in many confessions. Nice usher line there. Lately been stressing because who I am got who I really want to be in question. Man, this song, and that's just like one of the bars that stands out to me. And you kind of go really deep in the song, but I'm interested in like, what is your process in like the confessionary style of music? One way that I had Scribe music on one of my, I think it was the last process was Scribe. Maybe I don't remember who's last, but I did Scribe, and he was talking about music as like a journal, and why would you lie in your journal? But I was thinking, you don't have to make it a journal, but you are. And so like, what's the process for you to like make your music kind of like I don't know, almost like you're allowing your burdens to be shared with your audience?
For me, it's just being true to who I am. Like I said, it's like my mantra is free soul to the soul's free. So it's like just God came to give us life. He came to give us freedom, and we're to walk in that freedom in Him. Now, for me, I'm not saying that this works for everybody, because I understand that some people are way more private when it comes to their struggles and stuff like that, and I get that. I'm not saying that you have to be super transparent, but I've seen more. For me, I've seen more tangible relations when it comes to people. When you are transparent and you're not just like this super safe Christian. Like we all are human at the end of the day. We all have our own faults, our own struggles, our own shortcomings, and it's just like, not only are they going to know us by how we love, as it says in the Bible, but they're also going to be able to see that Christ is the one that's perfect, not me. Mm-hmm. And it's through him that I'm able to even have this relationship with God. It's through him that I'm able to even be able to acknowledge the fact that I have faults and that I have failures and that I have all these different things. Because if I didn't know no better, I would just think I was just a person out here living life. And I probably would still talk about my faults. Just like I said, I've been writing poetry since I was 8. So to me, rapping and this poetic expression is just like me getting my thoughts off, me getting my emotional highs or my emotional lows off, like just a way for me to transcribe how I'm feeling over wax. So it's just, that's just always kind of been a part of me. And that was another reason why I just felt conflicted when it came to before I kind of switched the style up in like 2020. I just kind of felt conflicted because I'm like, bro, I don't feel right just making youth groupie type of music and like, oh, let's jump for Jesus type of records. And it's just like, that's cool. That has its place. But for me, I feel like I'm doing a disservice because I'm not showing you my struggles. I'm not talking about the different things that I'm walking through. I'm not talking about the different challenges I'm facing or the different thoughts I have to fight on a daily basis. And it's just like, how else will people know? How else will people know that this walk, as the Bible says, ain't for the faint of heart?
Right.
Unless we talk about it. Like, these are real scriptures that most people don't glorify or don't talk about, but they're in the Bible for a reason. There isn't a perfect person outside of Jesus in the Bible. So it's like, if he did all this great work through these imperfect people, why do we think that we have to be this picture of perfection in order to share his light?
Amen.
The Bible doesn't even show us that. So it's like, why should our lives be any different? I'm not saying just be reckless to be reckless, but it's okay to share what it is that you're struggling with and that you're going through. And sometimes it might even help. A lot of times people struggle more because they don't share. And it's just like the Bible says we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. It's like those two things got to work together. The blood of the Lamb was already slain.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and you were saying, you just said like too, that you changed your style in 2020 to do this more kind of vulnerable style. And then you were writing poetry since you were 8. You have a very poetic flow style in your music. And then I'm looking at kind of what you're talking about. Sounds like the sanctification process. Like, yeah, usually when you start out as a Christian, you have like a lot of zeal, you're overzealous, you're like fired up, and then you might hit it like oh wait, I'm still sin. I thought I was good. No, I'm still sinning. You come up. Was something like that happening to also switch in your spiritual life along with your professional life? Like, was there some correlation there? Or, I mean, I know 2020 was crappy for everyone, but like,
oh yeah, 2020 was definitely rough for me. But when it came to music in general, like even with me doing youth groupie type of records, I was still being transparent, but only to a specific degree. I still hadn't dove deep into the different things that I was struggling with or the different things that I was facing. Because when life had hit me, it hit me hard and unexpectedly. So it was just like I wasn't prepared for the shift, and just going through a lot of hardship, starting rapping in 2012 and just developing through like the group that I was in and just performing at churches and different things like that. So it was just a lot of life that hit me at a very, very young age. I was like, I want to say 22 when I got married, and then we started having kids immediately after that. It was a lot going on, and it was just a lot trying to deal with life stuff at home, trying to deal with the struggles of being newly married, new kids, new babies, trying to find a career, trying to find a job, still doing music on the side, and it not being like profitable, but we out here performing and doing things. So it was just a lot of things going on at the time, and this was way before 2020. So by the time like 2020 hit, so in 2018, the group kind of dissipated just from life kind of pulling us in different areas. Me and a few of the guys are still cool. There's no like love lost on my part. I still love all of them. But it's just life pulling us in different areas and different arenas. And so it just got to a point where I was just like, man, like, God, should I even still be doing music, or should I just like do the whole family thing and just put all this stuff to the side and just be a husband and be a dad, and then that just be it to life? And I was ready to just give it up, and I just kept feeling this burning desire in my heart for it. And so God kind of put everything I needed just kind of in my pathway, as far as like a place to record, people who produced, a person who engineered, and then I was able to put out a project calling, I think I called it The Come Up at the time. And I put that project out, then going through some issues with the engineer, working on a second project, and it was just it was a lot going on, and it was just like, man, should I even be doing, like, still kind of seeking God, like, should I even be trying this? Should I still be doing this? People still talking about how they're encouraged through the music and how they're blessed by it and this, that, and the third. And I'm trying out new styles, trying to be relevant and trying to find my sound, trying the wavy sound and trying the trappy sound, and just different things. And it was just like, man, it's cool, don't get me wrong, but it's just like, I should it be this hard to try to continue to do this? So I just really just had moments where I was just like battling, like, should I get this up? Should I continue to do it? And every time I was ready to just walk away from it, God would just continue to confirm his word and confirm the journey, and just be like, nah, I have you here for a reason. Yeah. And it was like in 2020, it was just it was just like, man, I want to try something a little different. And I remember it was right around the time George Floyd and all the other different things. And I remember one of the first records that I had recorded, it was 3 a.m. And it was just talking about just being awake at 3 o'clock in the morning, wanting to go to sleep, but your mind steady racing on just the different things that are transpiring in your life, in life in general, outside, in the media and politics, and just Black people was getting murked by the police at that time. So it was just like, man, like, it's a lot going on. Then you got people in the media talking reckless, and it's just like, bro, then you got the church being quiet on a lot of the issues. So it's just like, bro, what is happening? Then we can't leave the house. And it's just wild. Like, bro, it was like, what is going on? And so, yeah, man, after I tried that, and for me, I'm a big nostalgia person. So a lot of times when it comes to different things, for me musically, I try to always like put a piece of nostalgia in my music. Like even with, for instance, like with Morning Mantra, like the bridge and the hook. The hook, you gotta get up, get out, and get something. Yep. That's Dungeon Family. Yeah. Like that's Dungeon Family Outcast. And then you got the if you wanna go somewhere. That's Sister Act 2. So it's like different things. I always like bringing different nostalgic aspects into my music, and just adding it and flipping it. Like I'm a big I'm a big advocate for flipping stuff differently, the way people aren't used to hearing it, and making it like original and new, but just get it kind of like we do with the gospel, like flipping the gospel and giving it a new presentation for people to receive who Jesus is. So it's just like that. I'm a big advocate for that. So yeah, anytime I do something musically, it's gonna have some hints of some nostalgia in it.
One of the I remember. All right, so you actually sent me this project early because you're the homie, and I got 3 songs in and I stopped. I was like, I'm not listening to this because I'm not in front of my camera, and this is wild. I want to get in. And so I remember then I didn't tell you I was going to do that until like later. I was like, hey, I'm going to do a live reaction tonight. I'm getting on. I'm knocking this out. And when I got to Pure Faith and Hustle, I remember I paused the tape, or I paused the music, and I was like, I gotta know who heard whose verse first, because both y'all went wild on that record. And then I found out that record's been out for a while, and I never heard it. But man, that track is nasty. Like I gotta know that process between you and Jared, because Jared's also, shout out to Jared. He's the homie. he's dropping fire this year too. I'm really excited for what he's got coming, but yeah, I gotta know.
Yeah, Jared's definitely the homie. Shout out to Virginia because we both in here. I forgot what city he's in, but yeah, it was funny because that was kind of low key. It was curated between myself, Ruslan, and Jared, because I was in Ruslan's Patreon at the time when I recorded it, and I had my verse done first, and I had the hook, and I was like, I feel like I want to get a feature on it, but I was like, I'm trying to think of who I could hear on it. And I was like, I could low key hear Jared on it. He was just like, yeah, Jared would kill this joint. He was just like, yo, you should ask him and see if he'd be down to do it or whatever. So I ended up DMing him, and he was like, yeah, for sure. And so I sent it to him. I think he sent it to me, sent it back like maybe 2-3 days later. And yeah, that was actually the first record me and 48 actually worked together on. So that 48 had hit me in the DMs because he heard the record Whole Enchilada with me, Ruslan, and Jody Jermaine. And he was just like, yo, I heard this record. He was the engineer for Jody Jermaine at the time. He was just like, yo, I love the sound. He was just like, I love to work with you on like some engineering type stuff. And I was just like, all right. Well, at the time I was in the process of like trying to find a new consistent engineer. I think at the time I was just using Conscience. Anytime I had like a new single or whatever, because of the issues with the previous engineer. And 48 was just like, look, I'll go ahead and I'll mix a record for free. If you like it, then we can lock in. So I was just like, all right. So I was like, I'm sitting on Pure Faithful Hustle. So I sent it to him. He sent me the mix back. I was like, yo, this is on fire. It's on fire. We've been locked in ever since.
That went straight on my bangers playlist. What else went on straight on there? Finnaby went straight on the bangers playlist.
Yeah.
Game Times on the playlist. I'm a big F1 sim racer. I have like a race simulator in the game room, and Game Time is now the song I play at the start of a race. Like when I'm racing somebody or like a panel, Game Time's my start. And I try and line it up for like the lights go off and boom, as it goes, the beat drops. I mean, I can never do it, but that's a song that gets me fired up when I'm racing. Because I don't compete in like intramural sports anymore, like softball or anything like that. I just race, and that's what gets me. That's my game time. So. And the thing I like about that song is you introduced me to two new people. I've never heard of Jiggy Man. I never heard of Berg the Beat, which I guess he's the producer on that song.
He's the producer, yeah.
But that Jiggy Man, like his style, I was like, who is this guy? Who is he?
Jiggy Man is cold. That's my boy from Virginia. Shout out Jiggy Man. He used to go by J Lloyd, but shout out to Jiggy Man. He's I can't even remember how long he's been rapping. I remember when I first met him, he was up and coming photographer.
Okay.
He had just picked up a camera and he was taking photos for the homies, and he was just around a lot. And then I remember him saying that he wanted to start rapping. And he was doing work at his church and stuff like that too. And I want to say I remember he prayed about being a rapper, and once he started putting pen to pad, he just progressively started getting better and better. And yeah, man, this is probably like our Game Time was probably like our, I want to say, third record together, and we got another one in the tuck too that's gonna be coming probably later on this year. As far as a single with him on it, but yeah, Jiggy Man Cole.
That's a cool song.
Shout out to Jiggy Man.
Another one that,
and that's before we continue, that's another reason why I wanted to structure the tape the way I structured it, because a lot of these songs, most people don't even realize have been out for a while. Yeah. So it was like a good way to reintroduce people to not only who I am, but people that I've worked with in the past and collab with. Because I usually don't like I don't usually like doing projects with a whole bunch of collabs. It's the bougie artist. It's the bougie artist in me. Like it's like when J. Cole won a Grammy for the for the album with no features. It was just like, yo,
Forest Hills
that's
Drive.
like
Was that
true
Forest Hills
artistry.
Drive?
Like you gotta,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like you just did this whole thing with no features. Like that's like true artistry. So it's like the bougie artist in me is just like, I don't really like having a whole bunch of features on projects, but with this particular one, I was just like, nah, these are records that I felt like some of them didn't get the justice they were due at the time because I didn't have an audience for real. So it was just like, you know what? I'm gonna put some of these together. I'm gonna see which ones fit sonically, see which ones go together, which ones are around the same theme. And we're gonna put this together, and that's another reason why I wanted to call it a tape because it was just like an amalgamation of just like 4 years worth of work when it came to just putting songs together, putting songs out, and just seeing how it was received. It's been
That's
doing well.
dope. And you do have a lot of features on this one, but it's a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
crew. TLS is in here.
Yeah.
I love seeing Cyrus rapping. I think he's been behind the
Yes.
boards for a while. Now he's kind of starting to come out with his rapping.
Mm-hmm.
And I love his voice. The song that stood out to me the most, the one that I wanted to keep coming back to, was the song when I first heard it, I didn't like it, was SNF. And that song
Mm-hmm.
grew on me the more I listened to it because, one, I realized, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is me assuming through the song what I'm trying to gather from it is, at least sonically, it felt like a jazz record. Like, it felt like it's not about the notes you're playing, it's about the notes you're not playing. Same with the cadences. You and Bill B came in and just laid it out in such, like, I remember, if I should actually go back and watch the reaction. I remember even feeling the switch of like, oh wait, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
listening to this properly. Shout out to Bill. He's my neighbor now. He's like out here in Arlington, so we need to connect. But
Yeah.
how did that song come together? That's a song I want to deconstruct, or I want you to deconstruct
Got you.
for me. Like,
So so shout out to Still a Kid, that's my homie. He does a lot of my production. He produced SNF, and SNF pretty much just stands for Spirit and Flesh. And the whole song is a story of people yielding to the spirit and people yielding to the flesh. So it's like both verses, the way I wanted it to, the thought that came into my mind, because immediately when I heard the beat, I was just like, yo, the hook came out super fast. And I was just like, yo, this is cold. And I was just like, it just feels like a storytelling type of record, and it's so jazzy. It has such a swing and a groove to it that it's just like, as an artist and as a rapper, it almost opens you up to be able to play in the different pockets of the different cadences that you want to choose. So I always love that about like jazzy beats, because jazz it's like there's rules, but there also are no rules when it comes to like jazzy stuff. So it's just like being able to play around in the open spaces and the open pockets was dope. And I wanted to tell a story of exactly that, like uh, the battle between yielding to the spirit and yielding to the flesh, and how one benefits, one also takes away. And so it's just like I wanted to tell a story. Originally, I wanted it to be um, a male verse and a female verse. But at the time, I didn't have the funds together to be able to pay for a feature. So shout out to Bill for locking in with me on that one. Um, it's funny though, because I had originally sent him Risk It All, the one that Cyrus
mm-hmm.
is on. And he sent back his verse and it sounded good in certain pockets, but I was just like, I don't know, this ain't hitting the way I wanted to hit. And then I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna try something different. And it was right around the time me and Cyrus had did Far From Home. And I was just like, let me send it to Cyrus. So I sent it to Cyrus, and that's how Cyrus got on Risk It All. And then later on, I had been sitting on SNF for mad long, and I was just like, man, I don't know who I'm gonna get the feature on this, but I feel like I said all I needed to say in the first verse, telling the story. I want somebody else to tell a contrasting story on the second verse. And my original thought was like, I should get Ty Lynn on this, but now I was like, nah, she be busy, and I was just like, man, I don't know. So I ended up getting Bill on it. He sent back his verse. I was like, this it right here. So like with the first verse, my verse, I wanted to take the pressure off of And because I know for some artists, not everybody likes talking about their faults or their flaws or anything like that. But I'm like, yo, if we're gonna tell a story and I want it to be a juxtaposition of both sides, I'll take the fall and I'll let the other person tell a story of triumph. So I let Bill go ahead and tell his story, yielding to the spirit. And for my story, I just told a story about somebody falling to the flesh. You know what I mean? Thinking they got it all together, thinking they secure, thinking they got it good, and at the end of the day, they folded.
Yeah, well,
just like we all do.
What's great about the record is because the beat is so just abstract to me. It feels not only is the story about the wrestling of the spirit and the flesh, the beat kind of matches that tension. So I'm also feeling it, not just hearing it, which is why I actually kept coming back to that track. Because I was like, man, this is such like an intentional song. And not that other songs aren't, but I mean, I resonate with the transparent songs the most. Like, Go With the Ghost last year was my most played song on Spotify. Like, I listened to that song way too much. It just really resonated with me. And so those are the songs that catch my ear and that I always return to. Even though like I probably listen to my bangers playlist the most because I like to drive with the top down and the sound up and piss everyone off.
I hear that.
If I'm gonna do it with some holy rap. Yeah, so man, I've loved the album. What has been the reception from it been? How has it been received? What have you heard from people? What's kind of the best?
I'm not gonna say surprising. Well, I guess it is surprising to me. I've only heard good things, which is dope. I've from anybody I've sent it to early to anybody who's listened to it after it dropped. I've only heard good things from it so far. It's been streaming decently for whatever streaming is nowadays. Percentages of pennies that you get from that, but
the millionth
percent of a penny. It's just like, all right, but no, it's been doing well to date. Pure Faith and Hustle is still my most streamed song. But it's just dope to reintroduce it to people that haven't heard it and that didn't know about it. And just the same thing with all the songs. Like Morning Mantra is probably one of my favorite songs I've ever created, like to date. And it's dope to see people's reception to it and just see people rock with it. And that's one thing. It's funny to me. There's one thing I noticed about myself when it comes to different styles. Like I make really good morning songs for some reason. Like got Rise and Shine with me and Mitch. You got Morning Mantra, Sunny Days with me and Mitch. It's just like for some reason I shine in that area. I don't know why, but
well, you have like a vibrant, airy sound to most of those songs too. Like I mean,
true. That's true.
I've actually been kicking around the idea of like curating a morning playlist. Like, what are the songs that you need to hear first thing in the morning that are Christian hip hop? Like if you wanted to get your day started, like what would you listen to? And Morning Mantra would definitely be in there. I think it's more about sound, not necessarily lyrics, but if you have the lyrics, there's a song Good Morning by what's his name? Something the Ghost. He's like really, really indie. Like I don't even remember how I found him. But he's got some good songs like that too. So there's just a lot of good morning songs out there that I'm like, man, we need to like put these together. And when I'm having a rough morning, just throw that on.
Facts.
Get me going.
Facts. It can brighten your day. It can put you in a mood.
Well, man, I've loved the album. I still got rotation on it. It'll probably be on rotation all year because it's definitely going to be a top 10 at the end. I've been telling people about it. I got to know what's with the Dune thing in your nose there in the cover there, or is that just your dreads?
Oh no, that's just that's just my dreads. Well, that was my braids at the time.
Dune still suits almost. I'm like, man, it's got
that was my braids at the time. And it's funny because I've had that cover art for mad long, and there's no way I can recreate it because I have no idea what I did to get that. But once I nailed it, I was like, yo, this is gonna be the cover. whenever this project comes out.
I just thought it was because you're
I
a
just
nerd
kept it.
and you were just paying homage to
it just nope.
Well, one of the things I love about you is we were talking before we were recording was man, we're both big nerds, and there's just not enough Christian hip hop nerds out there like who like anime, Star Wars, Marvel. Well, you're not a DC guy. I'm a DC guy, but you know, I love that I can text you and be like, the Acolyte looks terrible, or you know, or you need to watch this anime or that anime. Like, I think it's cool. Same with Q. Shout out to Q in Vegas.
Facts.
Alcott, he's my Miyazaki guy. If I watch a Miyazaki movie, I let him know, like, yo, I finally saw this movie. But man, I need you to watch Freerin. Like,
it's on my list. It's on my list.
So I just recently got my wife.
I'm watching like 4 shows. I'm watching like 4 shows right now. So I'm like, all right, let me knock out these 4 shows. Once they get knocked out, hopefully I'll have a gap before something new drops, and I'll be able to pick that up.
Man, it's the first anime show I've gotten my wife to watch. I've gotten her to watch movies. She's into the Ghiblis and some of the other films. She enjoys some of those. My wife's not nerdy at all. And I was like, babe, you need to give this one show a shot. Like, if you just watch the first 4 episodes, if you don't like it, I'll stop. Like, but you have to watch the first 4 episodes because that's the prologue. That's how they released it. Don't make a judgment until you get there, because that's where the show actually starts. And she's like, okay, I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
So we went out to a cabin, had a weekend, and she's like, let's watch it when we go out there so I'm undistracted. Watch it, and we ended up getting like 12 or 13 episodes into the show because she liked it. And I don't know about you. I don't know if your wife's the same way, but like, my wife's not into fantasy. She's not into like nerdy stuff. But there were some scenes in the show where I look over at her and she's like this, like just like in it, like in the show, and I'm like, yes, I got her. She's a nerd now. And so now I'm like telling everyone, you got to watch the show. If my wife likes it, that means everybody likes it.
Thanks. Nah, I feel you on that. My wife, she's an ally.
Okay.
In the anime in nerddom community. Like, she likes Marvel stuff, and she's a supporter of anime, but she don't really watch anime. Like, me and the kids will watch it, but me and the 2 younger kids, because my oldest, he not really into anime like that, but he likes Marvel stuff. But he also likes like major franchises like Bad Boys and Fast and the Furious.
Oh no, Fast and Furious
and all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. He's the only reason why I've seen the last 2 movies, because I'll take him to go see it, and it's just like, I've been tapped out since like 7.
I was tapped out since 5. I only saw 5 because The Rock was in it.
5 was good though. 5 was good though. I want to
see The Rock.
6 was. It was like 5, 6, 7, and then it's just been like downhill since then. It's just like
I've been pretty excited for House of Dragon season 2. I didn't actually watch it this weekend because I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna rewatch season 1. Why not? So I'm like 7 episodes into that, and I'll catch up this weekend. But did you watch it?
Yeah. See,
was it good?
Yes. It was typical Game of Thrones-y fashion, where it's just like a lot of dialogue when it came to just reintroducing the season between everybody and just different things happening. But it did pick up pace a little bit towards the end, and I don't want to spoil nothing, so I'm gonna just leave it at that.
I'll fly out to Virginia and fight you.
I would just leave it at that. But yeah, it was a good episode though.
Yeah,
it was a
I'm
good
excited.
episode.
But even my wife, she watched all of Game of Thrones with me, but she's like, I don't know if I want to watch House of Dragon. But she's been coming out into the living room the last couple of days, like, so what's going on? And I'm like, okay, so that's
right.
Cool. That's the like explaining all these funny things.
That's how my wife got into House of the Dragon. I was watching it, and I think I was on like episode 4 by the time she was just like, wait, so who is that? Wait, so who? That's who? I'm just like, girl, just watch the episode while I'm at work or something.
Popcorn.
Like, if I'm watching something for the first time, don't be asking me no questions. Like, I'm trying to watch it just like you trying to watch it.
That's so true, man.
Because you're gonna be confused the next time this person pop up and you don't know who they are. Just watch it from the beginning.
Yeah. It's like those. I saw a bunch of like Instagram reels of husbands that'll be like, my husband when I watch Love Is Blind, he's like, I don't want to watch that, and then it like cuts to him like, so wait, why is he doing? You know, he's like butting in. She's like, just sit down and watch the show.
I ain't gonna hold you though. Low key a guilty pleasure. I enjoy watching Love Is Blind.
I have parties at my house to watch that show. It is the best guilty pleasure. It makes me feel better about myself when I watch it.
Oh,
but
man.
Then I also can't judge because I'm like, man, I was like that when I was 20. I get it. Like, I can't judge too hard, but I'm also like, I can fix all your problems.
It's funny. Right. See, what y'all missing is this. It's like, bro, why would you do that? No.
So the UK season comes out in August, and
see, I only watch the American.
Me too, but I'll watch UK because at least they speak English.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I'm inviting a bunch of friends over, and one of my friends, shout out Tristan Laser, she had an idea of like, hey, what if we put a sheet over the TV so we couldn't see them either, and we kind of listened to it like a podcast.
Oh, and then when they reveal, reveal.
And then we reveal when that. And I was like, I don't know if I can do that for 5 episodes, but I could probably do it for 1 or 2.
Right, because they be stretching them pod episodes a lot longer. Because first it used to be just the first 3 episodes was the pods, and now it's just like 5 all the way to 6. It'd be like, fam, y'all ain't out yet.
Well, I think it's because that's the best content.
That's true. Because once they leave, it just kind of gets murky.
This is me every
it's hit or
season,
miss.
Like, oh, I found my person. I'm in love. I'm gonna live with them forever. And I'm always like, wait till y'all move in together.
Thanks.
Like, I'm glad you're recording this because we got receipts.
Hey, I'm like, oh, you just gonna leave them dishes? You just gonna leave? You just okay? All right.
Well, man, now we got to
go to work.
Another
come
show
on when I say
about.
that. Okay. Facts.
Does Q watch it? Do we need to get a?
Me and Mitch be talking about it.
I know Mitch watches.
Nah, I don't know if Q watches. I know me and Mitch be talking about it, but it was
I send
funny.
Mitch Love Is Blind gifts all the time when the season's on. So,
bruh, this last season, AD, I was like, oh,
don't get me started. Don't get me started on this last season.
I am glad they televised the conversation between what's that boy name? Clay Daddy and his mama. Because I was like, that needed to happen.
Of the entire season.
That needed to happen. Facts. I was like, yeah, I need to have that conversation.
The fact that they got that on
for sure, because that little baby was hurt, bruh. That whoever that cameraman is needs a raise. Because I'm sure he was like, hold on. Watch this.
Well, and just that dad was so like manipulative and such a small like.
Bro, it was weird, and it was just like it was sad because it was like you could see like you could see even if he did see the wrong in what he did, it was just like his pride was too much in him to like really truly admit it and apologize to not only your ex-wife but also your son, bro. You pretty much demoralized this man by doing the stuff that you did.
And
it's
he's
just
living
like
to please you,
bro. You got to be able to see that, right?
He needed his dad's approval,
and you couldn't even recognize that. Bad. He needed it bad, and it was sad because you could see it as the viewer, but it was just like, do y'all not recognize that this is happening? Like, bro, somebody say, get that man a hug. Like, somebody say something.
If I remember right, I think he came out kind of like the hero in the reunion show. I remember being like, man, he matured. Like, watching his arc has been incredible.
Yeah, it seemed that way from the reunion, and it seemed like they was kind of on good terms, kind of in the reunion. Well, I didn't expect Big Country, the big white dude. I didn't expect him to.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I didn't expect all that to come out in the reunion. I said, I'm just toxic, man. I'm just toxic.
Bro. He got blindsided.
Sheesh.
His face was just stunned. Like, oh, you weren't gonna give me a heads up.
Y'all gonna can I just leave? Can I just?
I actually usually hate Vanessa Lachey. I think she asks the worst questions. I think she's like super biased in her questioning, and I'm like, I just don't think that's a fair.
Definitely
question.
Biased in her questioning. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, definitely. And she be having all the smoke for the dudes, and then be letting the women off, and it'd be like,
yep.
Nick ain't gonna say nothing.
Yeah, he ain't gonna say
It's just
nothing.
like, Nick ain't gonna say
no
nothing to
leg
the
to
dudes.
stand
But
on.
you can't have this. You can't have this energy for the guys, and then be right here on the women. Like, at least balance it out. Like,
well, since you do so many like show recaps and reviews, maybe we need to do like me, you, and Mitch need to get on and do a Love Is Blind recap every week. And
oh, that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious, bro.
Just three
that would be
big
hilarious.
dudes, just like, yo, did you see what she said to him? I think that would go live. I think people would watch that.
Facts. That would be funny. That would be funny. I'd be down.
I want to respect your time. I know you got family to get to. I would love to pray for you, pray for the album, and get you back. So if you'd allow me to. Heavenly Father, thank you for this time with my brother JusRzd, and just the way that you have built him to be a creator, and the way that you've invited him into the way that you create, and he gets to reflect you in that, in the way that he makes music. I pray that you would go before him and go before this album and future records, that you would put it in the people's ear that need to hear it, that it would draw people closer to Christ. And I just pray that through that process with himself, that he would continue to just love you more, so that he can be salt and light to his family, community, and church. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I appreciate that, bro.
Absolutely. I appreciate the time.